We're back again with another update, but before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay connected. Now, it looks like things have taken a rough turn for Cardi B as JT and Nicki Minaj are getting the last laugh. Many fans are saying this is karma catching up, because Cardi's latest track, Imaginary Players, isn't performing the way she probably expected. Instead of climbing the charts, it's struggling badly, and even her label, Titanic Records, isn't pleased. The numbers speak for themselves. Imaginary Players debuted at number 147 on the US Spotify chart with only 336,000 streams, and it has already dropped off the chart completely. Compare that to Nicki Minaj's Super Freaky Girl, which pulled in a massive 1.5 million streams on debut. Her other tracks like Are You Gone Already hit 963,000, Barbie Dangerous got 953,000, Last Time I Saw You did 923,000, FTCU pulled 917,000, BB came in with 785,000, and Falling For You managed 733,000. Even Imaginary Players, another Cardi release, only managed around 700,000 global streams when it first landed on Spotify. Adding to this, JT's single OK racked up 500,000 streams on day one. That's still lower than what Cardi managed with Imaginary Players, but it shows how JT, Ice Spice, and Nicki Minaj have all been able to push stronger numbers recently. Fans online are already joking, asking if Cardi's about to hop out the plane, since her rivals seem to be outselling her without even relying on samples like she often does. And here's where things get even worse for Cardi B. Bea came out with her track Mommy and pulled in 734,000 streams within just the first 24 hours. That's already higher than Cardi's Imaginary Faces. And keep in mind, that one even leaned on a camel toe sample. So when Cardi claims she's outselling the other girls, these numbers tell a completely different story. And we haven't even brought up Ice Spice or Megan Thee Stallion yet, because if we do, it paints an even harsher picture for Cardi. Fans online are pointing out that Titanic Records isn't happy at all with how her latest two songs have performed. Yes, Outside managed to sneak into the top 10 when it dropped, but it quickly slipped out. Unlike what Cardi bragged about in that collab with Lizzo on Rumors. Remember when she confidently said, "My records live in the top 10? That claim didn't age well, because the results show the exact opposite. The real issue now is that Cardi tried to go hit for hit against other female rappers, and she's struggling because they're actually doing better than her. Insiders at Titanic Records reportedly no longer believe she'll reach the numbers they once expected. Right now, the label is relying heavily on the merch and vinyl sales she already pushed before dropping Downside and Imaginary Faces. They're hoping at least those pre-sales help soften the blow, because they don't think the album itself will perform anywhere near their original goal. From what's been said, the label had high hopes, around 250,000 to even 300,000 in sales, enough to compete with or surpass Nicki Minaj. But now, they aren't so confident that's going to happen. And honestly, this downfall makes sense to some people. When it was first revealed she was sampling Camel Face, many fans felt it was a bad move. He's not even hot in the industry right now, so the feature didn't bring her anything new. On top of that, Cardi didn't exactly deliver the way her supporters claim. People online might say, oh, she had bars. But in reality, most listeners disagree. People online are saying Cardi should be behind bars for the things she admitted in the past, like drugging and robbing men. But when it comes to actual rap bars, she doesn't really have any. And this failed single is being used as proof of that. To make matters worse, even the kitty litters, fans of Nicki Minaj, are dragging Cardi all over social media. They've been quick to point out that Doja Cat's Attention debuted way higher, landing at number 13 on the global Spotify chart with a huge 2.86 million streams. On the US chart, it entered at number 3 with 1.15 million streams. Those numbers blow Cardi's release out of the water. Now, some fans are holding on to hope that Cardi's next single, Jealous Type, will do better and maybe even outstream Imaginary Faces. But looking at it realistically, Jealous Type feels like a completely different kind of record. It leans more into a pop sound, while Imaginary Faces was supposed to hit harder as a rap track. And when you compare her to Doja Cat, it just makes Cardi look weaker. Doja not only raps better, but her visuals also stand out. She can drop a music video without relying on twerking or showing skin, and people will still tune in because the art itself is enough. Cardi, on the other hand, seems stuck repeating the same formula, because without it, her music videos don't get much attention. That's not all either. Doja has the ability to play with different elements of pop. She's versatile. Cardi has dabbled in pop before, but let's be honest, she doesn't have that one solo pop anthem that stands in the same league as Say So, or something as iconic as Nicki Minaj's Super Bass. People don't believe she ever will, and many are blunt about it online. Meanwhile, the conversation suddenly shifted to Halle Bailey, who also started trending. Unfortunately, she began getting dragged over her locks after she posted a heartfelt message online. Halle wrote, "I want to thank the city of Los Angeles for this incredible honor to be recognized for speaking up about maternal health, and my own postpartum journey is really humbling." Halle also reminded her supporters with a touching note saying, "Just a reminder that vulnerability is not a weakness. It's the bridge that connects us all." But even with such a heartfelt message, things didn't stay positive for long. As soon as she accepted the award, fans of DDG, or as many call him, Doodle Garbage, started dragging her online. A lot of them were upset and claimed this award was nothing more than a PR stunt, meant to protect her image before some major exposure that's rumored to come out on August 20th and 30th. According to them, Halle already knows she messed up, so she's allegedly preparing to blame everything on postpartum depression. One fan even went as far as to post, "So let me get this straight. There are men who get canceled by the whole earth for abusing a woman. But Halle Bailey gets an award from a city even though she's mentally and physically abused her boyfriend and tried to underlive her child without his consent." Now, personally, I don't believe that story played out the way these critics are claiming. And honestly, this is why I've always said from the beginning that Halle Bailey should never have gotten involved with DDG. From the moment she linked up with him, her reputation has taken hit after hit. Instead of being celebrated for her talent, she's constantly being dragged through drama that seems to revolve around him. When you look at how things have unfolded, it feels like he completely damaged her image and career. Now, I don't buy into the narrative that Halle was physically abusing him. If anything, I think it was more likely the other way around. Still, that doesn't mean Halle is completely innocent either. She does seem to manipulate certain situations to her advantage, and people have noticed that. But at the same time, let's not ignore the fact that DDG clearly benefited from dating Halle Bailey. He wasn't just chasing YouTube numbers. Halle had real clout. She was walking red carpets at the Oscars, showing up at the Met Gala, performing at the Grammys, and attending high-profile award shows. These are rooms DDG could never step into on his own, and being with her gave him access he otherwise would never have had. And honestly, that's exactly why people believe DDG got with Halle in the first place. It never really looked like genuine love or deep attraction. From the outside, it always seemed like a calculated move. He probably thought being with her would take his career beyond YouTube and streaming, pushing him into bigger spaces. But when reality hit, when he realized that just dating Halle Bailey wasn't enough to make people care about his music, that's when his behavior started changing. It's like once he saw that the public wasn't automatically going to stream his songs just because he was linked to her, he flipped the switch and decided to play her. That's the vibe it gives off. If we're being real, I don't think Halle was ever his type to begin with. Look at the women he was linked to before. India Love, Ruby Rose, and plenty of Instagram models. They're the complete opposite of someone like Halle Bailey. So when you compare, it really feels like his relationship with Halle was more of a strategic trap than a genuine connection. And that's why I can't feel much sympathy for how things turned out between them. It just doesn't seem real from his side. But shifting away from that messy situation, let's get back to Cardi B. After all the talk about her numbers and flopping singles, she recently went live to address the backlash surrounding her so-called lead single. And, honestly, what she said only added more fuel to the fire. Here's a clip of Cardi herself speaking. Listen closely, because this one had fans talking nonstop.
Whether the conversation is good or whether the conversation is bad, guess what? At least it's a conversation. You know what I'm saying? At least I got a fan listening to it, and then I got a hater listening to it. At least y'all listening to it. There's bitches that drop and nobody listens to their shit. Nobody give a fuck about their shit. And I'm just very grateful, very thankful about that, because it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, Cardi B, It looks like things just keep going downhill. People online are joking that she deserves 500,000 lashes, and honestly, some of those jokes sound like they're hitting too close to the truth. Because when you look at the actual numbers for Imaginary Faces, it's aiming for just a top 80 debut, pulling somewhere around 3 to 5K digital downloads and only 4 to 6 million streams. For a song that's supposed to be the big lead single off her upcoming album Downside, that's not exactly the kind of launch fans or her label were expecting. Let's be real. The last time she dropped, her supporters, aka Garbage Gang, mass bought during the first week. That heavy push gave her a top 10 placement, but the hype didn't last. The song fell out of the top 10 almost instantly and has been sliding down the charts since then. Now, with this new track, things are looking even worse. Her so-called second single might not even chart properly, and yet it was supposed to be the big follow-up to set the tone for her album. And then Cardi turns around and says things like, "Oh, when the other girls drop, nobody listens." But the irony is that the same thing is happening to her. People aren't tuning in, and the proof is in the numbers. The problem with Cardi is that she still walks around acting like she's above JT, Megan Thee Stallion, Bea, Ice Spice, like she's on another level entirely. But if we're being honest, the stats don't show that. They're pulling similar numbers, sometimes even better, and yet Cardi acts like she's untouchable. The truth is, she was industry pushed from the start. Labels backed her heavy because they wanted her to be the one to take Nicki Minaj's spot. And clearly that mission has failed. All the surgeries, all the hype, and still the numbers don't match the talk. That's why people keep clowning her with lines like giving her 500,000 lashes. And let's be real, your project already dropped off the US charts. So with that, it looks like you've officially become the flop you rapped about. This is literally a flop-off. Don't let anybody try to push the idea that Cardi B is an icon or a legend, because the numbers from this second album say otherwise. You had to recycle old tracks just to make the project look better, because without them, the whole album would have tanked. The tactics are obvious, but even with the tricks, it's still giving flop. No talent, no longevity, just hype. Consider this your wake-up call, Cardi. You're not that girl. Have a seat.